Good afternoon, everybody. This time, we will explain the reason why resident tax will be collected under the fixed tax reduction in June 2024. Introduction. From June 2024, a fixed amount tax reduction will be implemented for income tax and resident tax. Many people are expecting a reduction in their tax burden due to this tax reduction measure, but in reality, resident tax will be collected from June's salary. If so, what is the reason? Here we will explain in detail the possible reasons and solutions. First, let's understand the basics of fixed tax reduction. The fixed amount tax reduction that will be applied from June 2024 will be applied to both income tax and resident tax. Specifically, income tax will be reduced by 30,000 yen per person, and resident tax will be reduced by 10,000 yen per person. This tax reduction may also increase depending on the number of dependents or spouses. Now, we will explain the reasons why June residents' tax is collected. The first is the difference in the start date of the residents' tax reduction. Residents' tax reduction will basically start from June 2024. But the specific collection start date may vary depending on the local government. In many local governments, residents' tax reduction will begin from July onwards. Therefore, there is a possibility that resident tax will not be reduced for the June salary. The second problem is the timing of payroll calculation. Depending on the timing of payroll calculation, the application of the tax reduction may be delayed. If payroll is calculated early, the tax reduction may not be reflected until the following month. Please check with the person in charge of payroll or the company's accounting department. This is important. And thirdly, if certain procedures are not completed. To qualify for the flat rate tax reduction, employees must file a specific tax return, which includes the number of dependents and marital status. Late filing of the return will result in the tax reduction. May also be delayed. Now, let's talk about the specific steps to take if June residents' tax is collected. First, check with your company's accounting department. First, contact your company's accounting department and check whether the fixed amount tax reduction is reflected correctly. The accounting department knows the details of payroll calculations, so they should be able to tell you the specific reason. Second, please contact your local government's tax department. Next, please contact the tax department of the local government that collects resident tax. The method and timing of applying tax reductions differs depending on the local government, so you can obtain specific information. Thirdly, check and submit the necessary documents. If you have not submitted the required documents, or if there is any information that is missing, please submit them promptly. Information regarding dependents and spouse is especially important. Providing accurate information will reduce your tax. The fourth and final step is to consult an expert. Another option is to consult a tax accountant or financial planner. Experts are familiar with the latest tax regulations and can provide appropriate advice. Summary: there is a fixed tax reduction that started in June 2024, but there are various reasons why resident tax may be collected. First, check with your company's accounting department or local government's tax department and take the necessary procedures. Let's go! By staying up to date with the latest information and taking appropriate action, you can reap the benefits of fixed tax reduction. Now, let's talk about alternative plans and specific methods for fixed rate tax reduction for resident tax. If the flat rate reduction in resident tax is not reflected as expected, we will suggest ways to find out the cause and some alternatives that you can try now. This will help you identify the cause of the problem and quickly deal with it. You can do it. The first alternative is to check your resident tax at the beginning of the year. The reason is that resident tax is calculated based on annual income and is set once at the beginning of the year, usually in June. It is difficult to change it mid-year, so it is important to check at the beginning of the year. To find out how, check the residence tax notice sent at the beginning of the year. Check the specific tax amount and deduction details and check for errors. The second method is to contact your local government's tax department. If you have any questions, please contact us directly for more information. The second alternative is to check other tax deductions and tax reduction schemes. The reason is that in addition to fixed tax reductions, there are various tax deductions and tax reduction systems, and by taking advantage of these, you can reduce your overall tax burden. One way to do this is by deducting your mortgage loan. If you are using a home loan, check the home loan deduction. The second method is medical expense deduction. If you have paid a large amount of medical expenses, check whether you are eligible for medical expense deduction. The third method is to deduct educational expenses. You may even be able to receive deductions for your child's education expenses. The third alternative is to check the details of your payslip. The reason is that various deductions, including resident tax, are listed in detail on the payslip, so by checking this, you can find out the exact amount of deductions. As a method, check your monthly payslip. In particular, check the residence tax items and make sure they are applied. The second method is to contact the accounting department. If you have any questions, please check with the accounting department and ask for more information. The fourth alternative is to collect information on the local government website. The reason is that the application and procedure for resident tax may differ depending on the municipality. So it is important to check the official website of the municipality to obtain the latest information. As a method, regularly check the official website of the local government. New notices and changes may be announced. The second method is to use the online inquiry form. Submit your questions directly and get answers. The fifth alternative is to contact the tax office. The reason is that the tax office has a wide range of tax knowledge and can provide detailed advice, especially in complex cases where professional advice is needed. The best way is to call or visit the tax office. Prepare the necessary documents in advance and prepare specific questions. The second method is to check the tax office website. FQ and the latest tax information are posted. The sixth alternative is to use a household account book app. The reason is that by using a household account book app, you can centrally manage your daily income and expenditures and tax payment status, which allows you to understand changes in your tax burden in real time. To do this, download the recommended Household Account Book app. Many household account book apps have multiple functions, making it easier to manage your income and expenditures. The second method is to update the app regularly. Enter the latest income and expenditure information and use the analysis function to check the tax savings effect. The seventh alternative is to reconfirm when filing your tax return. The reason is that when you file your final tax return, all of your annual income and deductions are reconfirmed, so you can recheck to make sure there are no errors. The best way to do this is to double-check the details when filing your final tax return. Check all deductions and make sure there are no omissions. The second option is to ask a tax accountant. If necessary, you can request a tax accountant to file your tax return and receive professional advice. The last alternative is to consult your workplace's Human Resources Department. The reason is that the Human Resources Department at your workplace manages detailed information about employees' salaries and taxes, so if a problem occurs, you can quickly resolve it by consulting with the Human Resources Department. Consult with the Human Resources Department to find out how. We will explain the specific problem and request the necessary response. The second method is to set up regular meetings. We will set up a meeting to clear any questions you may have regarding payroll and taxes. if the flat rate reduction in resident tax does not take effect as expected. Trying the alternatives above will help you identify the cause of the problem and quickly address it. Use these methods to minimize your tax burden and achieve effective tax savings. Always keep up to date with the latest information and don't forget to consult a specialist if necessary.